think I have my screen not here. Hello, everyone. Let's wait till some people log on here, get on here. Hello, TikTok. Hello, YouTube. I got one. So, hi, everyone. I'm going to start answering any questions about past life hypnosis, higher self hypnosis. I have a couple books I'm going to share with you guys. And I have some higher self hypnosis stories to share with you guys. Some very interesting sessions that I have had lately. So I want to share those with you guys. Hello, Anetta. Okay, let me get right into this. Okay, new books. Well, maybe I should share that later. I don't know. Maybe I'll share them twice. I just got a new book. I haven't read it yet other than just like glancing through it, but I love sharing books because like I'm a total book nerd when it comes to spiritual books. But I personally know this author, and she's amazing and so gifted and so talented. And her name is Victoria Rader, and it's called Prosper Me. And it is the 35 universal laws to make money work for you. So there are different laws in the universe, and she goes over 35 of these laws. So if you look at something called the planes of existence, there's 7 planes of existence. So the first plane of existence is minerals and rocks. Things move really, really slowly. The second plane of existence is plants. Third plane of existence, plants and trees, things like that. Third plane of existence, if you look at the 7 planes, third plane of existence is us. That's people and animals. Fourth plane of existence, that's where our ancestors are. Fifth plane of existence, that is the spirit realm, that we would think of the spirit realm. That's where our spirit guides are. That's where our higher self is. But within each of these realms, I'm actually teaching you guys a little bit of what's included in theta healing. And I'm going to tell you guys about theta healing in a little bit because OMG, it's like the most incredible healing modality ever. And I use theta healing inside of my higher self hypnosis sessions. So anyway, each plane has different levels or dimensions inside of each plane. So higher fifth plane is like ascended masters, archangels, things like that. The lower you go, you have like, you can have more like demons and things like that. But then sixth plane is the laws. That's where the laws reside. And there's all kinds of laws. There's the law of gravity. There's the law of magnetism, which includes the law of attraction. There's the law of truth, the law of wisdom, the law of knowledge. There's all kinds of laws. But anyway, in this book that I just got, again, Prosper Me by Victoria Rader. You guys can get it on Amazon. And I know her, and she's amazing. She was my first theta healing teacher. She doesn't personally teach it anymore, I don't think. But anyway, the 35 universal laws to make money work for you. So if I look in the table of contents, let's look at what these laws are. The laws are, I'm going to just read a few of them. It's the law of gratitude, the law of harvest, the law of tithing, the law of cause and effect, the law of preparedness, the law of saving, the law of trust, the law of service, the law of work, the law of investment, the law of spending, growth, awareness, funding, fun, celebration, connection, discernment, balance, interest. So there's lots of, I haven't read it yet, like I said, but I bought it because I love learning about the laws. And again, and I forgot to tell you guys, 7th plane is creator. It's pure unconditional love, creator space. So we have the 7 planes of existence. And I'm going to be teaching about all of that and way more in my theta healing classes. So actually registration is open now for my theta healing classes. And I have, if you guys mark your calendar on February 12th, I think it's at 8 p.m. Eastern time. 8 or 8:30, I am doing a free webinar for anyone who wants to find out a little bit more about theta healing. So I'm going to talk about theta healing and what it is and how unbelievably amazing it is and what an incredible healing modality it is. And again, I use theta healing inside of my higher self hypnosis sessions. But I'm going to also tell the difference between what I do in my higher self hypnosis versus straight theta healing. Like if you just do a theta healing session, like what does that look like? What does it entail? And how is it different between what I do with higher self hypnosis and using theta healing inside of my higher self hypnosis session? So I'll explain all of that in my free webinar, and registration, I think, is open for it, guys. If you go to wokelightworker.com, I think you can register for that. Let me look at my email on my internet right now on my desktop, because I think my operations manager was working and my web developer were working really, really hard all day today and getting it open so I could tell you guys about it. I'm not sure. Actually, no, that one's not open. I'll take it back. Okay. But I do have another free webinar that is open on my website, and it's called, I'm super excited to announce this, guys. It's called, and it's free, Starting a Spiritual Healing Business. So if you guys are interested in starting your own healing business, I'm giving a free webinar. It's going to be like an hour, 15-ish minutes, hour and 15 minutes on February 16th. And that's going to be at 8 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, 5 p.m. Pacific. Again, that's February 16th, free webinar, Starting a Spiritual Healing Business. So if you go to wokelightworker.com, you can register for that and reserve your seat. So because it's done on WebEx, it's not Zoom, but it's WebEx. It's basically the same thing. Oh my God, thank you so much for the hand heart. Glory, thank you. Thank you. And that's a hand heart on TikTok, guys, in case you're wondering on YouTube what's going on. Let me turn my light on so you guys can see me better. Oh, that's better with more light. So yeah, if you guys want to go to wokelightworker.com, you can register for my free webinar, Starting a Spiritual Healing Business. And I'm super excited about it because my spirit team put the idea in my head. And literally in about 30 minutes, I wrote the whole thing. So it was just boom, like it was just flowing out. And I have to tweak it and add a little bit more to it and stuff. But there's so much I want to cover in it. I'm going to cover a little bit of marketing. No, I'm not going to show you how to go on social media and do all this stuff. Like it's not going to be nitty gritty stuff, but it's going to be doing more like spiritual marketing. It's a little different perspective. And talk about what is it? What do you want to have as far as qualities and I guess I'll just say qualities in terms of what do you want to have in order to start a successful healing business? Because you can do a healing business and just do it super part-time just to make a tiny bit of a little extra money, or you can actually do it and go big time, go big or go home, right? Go big time and do it full time and make a really decent living out of it, because it's a business like any other business. And I've talked about this before on my lives, that everyone has a right to be paid when they offer a service to anyone else, just like a psychiatrist or a psychologist or a doctor or anyone else. Just because you're in the service industry does not mean you do it for free. You're giving your time, your talents, your hours and hours and hours of training, thousands of dollars of training that you've spent, and you're giving that person your time and your energy. And your time and your energy are your most valuable things that you have. So absolutely 100% you should be paid. But we'll also talk about why some people are like afraid to charge for healing services and things like that. And there's usually a lot of hidden belief systems that we have when there's something like that going on. And theta healing is a great way to uncover those things, by the way, or even in a higher self-hypnosis session, because you may have a belief that it's not safe to be a healer. So a lot of healers in this lifetime were killed or had unsafe situations in other lives. And so they carried a belief that, oh, wow, it's not safe to be a healer, or they made some sort of vow that they wouldn't charge, or that is poverty, or they were condemned or something. And so they carry those beliefs with them on a soul level to this lifetime, and that it impacts your whole life in this life. So we want to dig those things out, of course. Let me see if we have any questions. What was the most surprising thing you learned from talking to a higher self? Well, okay, I'm going to answer that question. Thank you for asking that, Allie Perrin. The most surprising thing, actually, guys, literally came last week. And I actually had to, in my mind, quietly to myself, ask my higher self to pull the shock from my system from learning what I did, because it really rocked me and shocked me. I'm so rhymey. It really rocked me and shocked me what I learned. So I will share it with you guys. So I had a session last week, and this is going off memory. So if I got any of the details incorrect, I apologize, because the person may be listening to this. But I asked, she had a really, really, really difficult upbringing with a super abusive dad, like massively evil, like evil, evil, evil. I mean, I ask people for a few examples, not to stir up a bunch of old feelings and traumas, but because I like to, in my higher self hypnosis sessions, I like to ask their higher self to go to that specific incident, because there's no such thing as time, but to go to that incident and pull the shock and trauma from that person in that instance, and send it to creator's light, replace it with unconditional love and light, comfort them, hug them, heal them, whatever would be good for them in that situation. So just one example of how her dad was just nasty. He was always cutting her down and berating her, like, badly. Never showed her any love, ever, ever, ever. And her mom never stood up for her, never protected her, anything like that. But one time she said she was getting her coat on and walking down the stairs, literally just like nothing else had happened. I mean, she was just walking down the stairs, and her dad came up to her and said something to the effect of that she was a nothing. I mean, it wasn't those exact words, but it was something like, you're a nothing, you're a nobody, you're a loser. And then he, when you're going to spit and you like gather a bunch of mucus from like the back of your throat and in your nose. So he did that, and then he spit right in her face. So that was really bad. So anyway, I decided to do something a little entertaining for that situation. So we actually asked her higher self, and she thought it was hilarious, because when you're in a situation like that, when someone does something like that to you, you would love nothing more. And she was a teenager. You would love nothing more than to have the guts to do something really like bold back to them. But of course, you're in that situation and you can't, because he'd probably beat the crap out of her. So, but in this session, we let her do something really bold. And I said, let's redo that situation. So it's redoing or replaying, resetting that situation. So in that situation, what we did was we had her wipe it off of her face, and then take it and wipe it all over her dad's face. And we replayed that scenario doing that. And her higher self said, yep, this is what happened. She wiped it off and wiped it right back on his face. And she loved it, because she was able to stand up for herself. And of course, in that scenario, there was no beating for her or anything like that. She could actually do it. So, okay, so not only that, but okay, here's the shocking thing that I learned from that situation. And again, her dad was super abusive. So I asked, did her spirit team, did she pick her dad? Did she choose her dad? Did she choose this experience? Or did someone on her team, choose this experience for her? Because guys, contrary to popular opinion, we do not always choose our parents. It's maybe 60, from what I see, it's maybe 65% of the time we do. The other times we don't. It is usually our spirit team who chooses them for us. giving us veto authority. So we can say, yeah, I'm fine. You guys, I know I need to learn lessons A, B, and C. So just find the best match that you think for me. I trust you, team, that you're going to find me, the team, the parents and the siblings and the spouses and whatever, so I can learn the lessons that I want to learn in that particular lifetime. And we trust our team, right? We need to be able to trust our team. Obviously, we need to be able to trust our spirit guides, our angels, our higher self. Like, we really need to be able to trust this. So her higher self said, no, she actually wasn't the one that chose it. And I said, oh, okay. Well, then who did choose her father? And her higher self said that it was her spirit team. Her spirit guides chose this father for her. And I said, well, did they know? Because did they know that he was as evil as he is? And guys, I think it was right before this. It was right before this. I asked her higher self to show her what her dad actually truly looks like. And because I suspected, and it was verified, that he actually is reptilian. So he's a shell. So he's a reptilian possessing a body. So I asked about that, and I said, okay, so was he born as a shell, or was it like a possession later in his life? And the answer was, it was a possession later in his life. And it happened when he was over in the Vietnam War, which I totally understand. I mean, you can have so much shock and trauma from something like that you're just like, checking out. You're just checking out, and it would be easy-ish for a demon or dark entity to come in and take over your body. So that's when it happened. And I said, wait a minute. So if that happened in the Vietnam War, that was before she was incarnated here on Earth. So she was still in the spirit realm when that happened. So why did her team still let him be her father? Did they know that he was taken over by a reptilian? And the higher self had to check. And the spirit council was there in this conversation. They had to check. Higher self had to check and said, yeah, actually, they did know that he was a reptilian. And I said, okay. So given that, did anybody tell her that, hey, the dad we chose for you, kind of got swapped out and now he's possessed by an evil reptilian? And the answer, after consulting, higher self consulted and put me on pause for a little bit, said, actually, no, she was not told. And I said, why not? Or I said, who made that decision to not tell her? And it was one particular guide, according to her higher self, and it had the letter E in the guide's name and the letter T, but it wasn't an ET, her higher self said, but it had those two letters in the name. And I said, well, that's really interesting. So why did that guide think it was okay? Well, that guide said, well, because she was so evil in her previous life that they thought it was okay. She was actually a barbarian in the past life that we saw, like a true barbarian. Like, she was a he in that life and killed a lot of people. And so that past life, actually, that's going to be put on my Patreon channel here, guys, in just a few days. Probably within the next week, I'm going to have that on my Patreon channel, her whole session. It was so amazing. But and I said, yeah, but isn't that going against her free will to not tell her when something like that serious changed and to still allow her to go into that incarnation? And her higher self said, yes, that did violate her free will. And I said, wait a minute. Her own team violated her free will. Wait, this is a team we're supposed to be able to trust with our life. And her team, one of her spirit guides, at least, violated her free will. Like, are you kidding me? So that's what I'm saying. Like, I literally had to talk to my higher self and go, can you pull the shock from me from hearing this? Because I couldn't believe it. Like, it rocked my world. Like, oh my gosh, like, how does this happen? How often does this happen? Like, is this a common thing? Like, I can't believe this. Like, it just shocked me. Right. So, And she was definitely under, guys. We were definitely connected to her higher self the whole session. I can tell when someone's not connected to their higher self, and she was definitely connected. So I said, what is the consequence for that spirit team or that guide to violate her free will? And her higher self said her council has been made aware of it. She actually said something to her spirit council, and they're handling it and dealing with it. So I then asked, I said, well, as I sat there in shock, I said, she can't trust this team anymore. Like, I mean, they violated the most sacred role anyone could have in a journey of a soul. So I kind of took it extreme and I said, does she want to fire her spirit team? Because we get new guides, guys, all the time. New guides coming and going, new guides coming and going. We have usually like a core of maybe 3 or 4 guides, 2 to 4 guides that are like there with us, like our whole journey primarily, but all kinds of guides come and go in our lives, just depending on what's going on in our life. And we can specifically ask for different guides. Like if we're starting a new business, we can ask for business consultant guides, or if we're writing a book, ask for writing guides. Going for a walk, I always ask for gigantic big angels to walk on both sides of me when I'm going for a walk, because I always walk at night. And I always get them, and I always feel like huge presence around me when I'm walking. So nobody better dare touch me. But and if they do, I got my stun gun and my big dog. But anyway, so yeah, so we fired her higher self, fired her whole spirit team, and assigned her a much more mature spirit team to be with her. So and I just actually got an email from her today and one yesterday, and I will share with you guys what she said after her session. She said, but that was a wild story, right? And I haven't read your comments for a little while here, guys, so I'll read them in just a minute because I want to get that whole story out. But she said, I feel so much better, so much lighter. I just smelled the Holy Spirit and then I felt it. Such a wonderful feeling. And I was in such a state I hadn't been able to sense it lately. All of that depression and uncertainty about life is gone. I feel like the weight of the world has lifted. I have truly laughed again. I thought that was amazing. I loved getting her report. And she emailed me wanting to do, thank you, Husky Kimberly, for the rose. She emailed me and wants to do a second session because she got so much healing in that first session, so much healing, but we didn't get to all of her questions because we went so deep with the healing issues. And there was so much that came up. Like I didn't anticipate all this stuff coming up about her spirit team and not being able to trust them. So that really shocked me. So the original question was, what have you heard that shocked you the most? It's that. Probably the second thing was the first time that I ever found out and someone saw their actual father or mother, but usually it's the father. I don't know why, but, and their higher self showed them in their mind a picture of what their father really looks like in the spirit. And it was all full out reptilian narcissists. So like I have told you guys before that probably about 40% of the narcissists out there that people who come to me and have a narcissist in their life, which is most people, that's just the clients that come to me, about 40% of them, at least 45% are reptilians. Crazy, right? Reptilians. They're not human. They're shells. They're human shells possessed by reptilians. And the other ones are really broken souls, or souls that just choose life after life after life after life to just be darkness. They're just not interested in turning to the light yet. And believe it or not, every one of you who's on a spiritual journey, including me, we have all had really dark lives. Really dark lives. We've all been killers. We've all been murderers. We've all been rapists. We've all been, not saying we've all been child traffickers, but there have been child traffickers in this group that's listening to this call. You've been both the perpetrator and the victim. And sometimes back and forth, you play back and forth the role until you move on. But that's how you become a light worker. And this is hard for the ego to hear. I know this is hard for the ego to hear, but we want to experience the whole, imagine like a circle. We want to experience everything on this circle. So let's pretend this is a circle. It's not, but we want to experience the whole thing. We don't want to just experience one little piece of it and go, oh, I'm just all light. Because if you think about it, guys, we come from pure light. We are pure light. We are creator in flesh. We are incarnate. We are a spark of the divine come to incarnations to have experiences, to learn, to grow, to have experiences. That expands creator. And all of it is an experience, every little piece of it. And we come from light. And our souls think it's great fun to experience the illusion, because it's not real. So this stuff isn't real. It doesn't really happen. It's all an illusion. But going under the illusion that we're evil, that we're far away from light, that we are darkness when we're not really darkness. I mean, we are light. But it's fun for our soul to be like, what does it feel like to not know light all the time? Because then when you go, let's call it the opposite direction, and then you work your way up to being like, yeah, I want to be not so dark that next life, I'll be a little bit lighter, a little bit lighter, a little bit lighter. Oh, I want to be this big, massive light worker. Oh, I love being a light worker. And coming back to the light, it's just that feeling of like coming home to your true self. And so that's why we do it. And that's hard for the ego to understand. You may or may not like that. Doesn't change anything. You may not want to accept it. That's fine. Everybody gets to believe and accept anything they want. So let me see. But we do it with reptilians. Well, yeah. So in that case, she was not told that it was a reptilian, but the reptilians, I haven't delved into this like super deep, and I will in future sessions, but I haven't delved into it super deep about reptilians and why they're allowed to basically borrow bodies and possess them and carry out lives pretending to be humans and wreaking all kinds of havoc. But that's kind of the whole scenario that's playing out on Earth, this good versus evil. And it's just the drama that's happening on Earth. And so that is why, like, Dolores Cannon's book, The Three Waves of Volunteers and the New Earth, that is why there are so many starseed volunteers on the planet and more coming in, like all these little starseeds that are coming in, all these kids, right? So they possess bodies and come in to create havoc and evil. I mean, just look at the people spraying the sky. I mean, you got to freaking be a reptilian to do that kind of stuff. I mean, I don't even know. You can't have a conscience and do that kind of stuff. Like, you just can't. That and other things, right? So they're creating all kinds of havoc on the planet. And so all of these planets are sending star seeds, which are probably a lot of you or most of you listening to this live, and to combat that. So it's really this light versus dark battle that's playing out. And unfortunately, Earth is the battlefield. And it's like, what's going to win? Light, more dark, Kendra, thank you for the rose. Thank you. Hi, Sue. Hi, Joni. Thank you so much for sharing. You're so welcome. Let me see. When receiving information from higher self, when we ask, how do we know it's not the ego answering? Because you have to learn the difference. So I have a class coming up February 7, guys. I hope they changed it on the website. It's supposed to be $100 off right now, but it's connecting to your higher self. If you go to wokelightworker.com, that is exactly what I'm going to be teaching on for 4 Tuesdays in February. And if you miss one, because you're going out for Valentine's Day, because it is going to happen on Valentine's Day, if you're going out for Valentine's Day, you guys will get a recording of it, so you can watch it after the fact. But we're going to do exercises to actually help you distinguish between the ego voice and the higher self voice. And you have so much more peace. Oh my God, so much more peace. And you become a completely different person when you listen to the higher self voice and live as your higher self to a much larger extent than the ego. And so it's a lot of practice. Oh, Chris, my operations manager is listening. He said he did update the price on the website. So yeah, guys, so there is a sale on my class, Connecting to Your Higher Self. It's 4 Tuesdays in February, starting February 7. I am so excited about everything I'm going to be teaching in that class. Oh my gosh. Like I love, of course, like my purpose. I came here to teach all about the higher self and the connection with the higher self. And I just love it. I just love, love, love everything about the higher self. Thank you, Husky Kimberly, again for roses. You're such a doll. I love you. So it's a long story, like it's a lot, but a huge part of distinguishing between the two voices, the biggest thing, honestly, and this is like probably not going to be the most exciting answer, is you have to heal yourself. Your emotional trauma, all physical trauma, physical pain, physical illness, disease is a symptom of emotional stuff. It's all that underlying emotional stuff. So I remember going into one higher self hypnosis session and she wanted to cover, I don't remember what it was, like romance and like all this other stuff. And I'm like, okay, so tell me about growing up and tell me about mom and dad and your relationship with them. And she's like, I really don't want to get into that. And I'm like, well, you're not going to heal anything. We need to pull the roots, the weeds in the garden by the roots, because otherwise they're just going to keep springing up in your life. And I heard a saying years ago when I was a young adult. I never forgot it, but it said, childhood is the thing that we spend the rest of our life trying to get over, trying to recover from. Like, how true is that? Childhood is the thing we spend the rest of our life trying to heal from. I mean, guys, there's something called, and I'm going to be teaching this in Theta Healing. So again, guys, I am going to be doing a free webinar on February 12 in the evening. It's a Sunday evening. Registration's not open yet. If you're not on my mailing list, go to wokelightworker.com. You will get an email when registration is open, but it's a free webinar on what is theta healing and how freaking amazing it is and can literally change your life. Like, you have no idea. And in 8 to 10 days of classes, like, you just won't even believe it. You'll get like 2 years worth of what would have taken you about 2 years on your own to heal in an 8 to 10 day class. Like, it depends if you take my 8-day class or my 10-day class. Like, I'm not joking. Like, when I walked out of 10 days of theta healing classes, I was like wide-eyed going, oh my gosh. Because I was in the thick of my healing journey. And I said, I know for a fact that what I just accomplished in that class through classwork would have taken me probably about 2 years on my own to heal. Like, it was crazy how much healing I got in that class. So mark your calendar and get on my email list. Go to wokelightworker.com and you guys can get on my email list to be notified when that registration is open for my free theta healing webinar. It's going to be like half an hour, 40 minutes, 45 minutes, something like that. I'm just going to tell you guys about it and how amazing it is, because you can read anything you want online about it, but I'm telling you from personal firsthand experience and from being an instructor of theta healing that it is life changing. It will change your life. But anyway, I'm so passionate about it because it's just like completely changed my life. But again, I use theta healing inside of my higher self hypnosis. So what you might be able to accomplish in 2 hours of time in theta healing, you might be able to work on maybe 5 or 6 issues and really dig to the root cause of something. We can do 10 times that in a 2-hour higher self hypnosis session. So it's just, we're doing like much faster because your higher self is answering all the questions for you instead of you answering them in a theta healing session. Your higher self is answering them for you, pulling trapped emotions, healing this, healing that, giving you physical healing, telling you what your issue is, why you're not able to lose weight. Like, in my higher self hypnosis sessions, like why you can't lose weight and all this stuff. Like, I had a really great session yesterday and she was told exactly why she can't lose weight. She has a fear of success or fear of failure. Sorry. She has a fear of failure. And so she's not able to lose weight. So we went really deep into that. Like, okay, what does she need to heal? And what do we need to pull in order for her not to have that fear of failure? So I don't know how I got off on that bunny trail, but let me look at some more comments. What do you think of the Akashic Records? Yeah, that's cool. That's where we go when we look at past lives. So all my sessions begin by looking at a past life. And then we look at, in my higher self hypnosis sessions, we look at a past life. Then we look at what the person does in between lives. And then I call forth their higher self, and they're channeling their higher self in my sessions. So I give you plenty of prep work and everything to do to prepare yourself for a session, so you know how to prepare for that. Data healing, no theta. It's THETA. So THETA. And it's, you can go to wokelightworker.com and you can learn more about it. It's under the tab, I think it's called Courses and Training. And then it says theta healing, like the theta brainwave. You know, we have different brainwave states. We have alpha, beta, gamma, delta, theta. Theta is the brainwave that you're in just before you fall asleep. That's like your dream state, your dream brainwave. Yeah. So if you look on my website, wokelightworker.com, and you look under theta healing practitioner classes. Not only that, guys, but when you become a theta healing practitioner, you can actually start working as a theta healing practitioner, and not only healing yourself with theta healing, but you can actually start doing client sessions. You can't do client sessions until you've had like the first 3 levels, which again is 8 days, 8 whole days. It's not a big deal, guys, but it is intensive training. 10 days if you want to be even better, because then that's the next 2-day class. But registration is open for my first one called Basic DNA. So we actually activate your 12 strands of DNA. We do a lot of stuff in the basic one, but that is going to take place starting February 17. It's a 3-day weekend. So we're going to do it from 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern time, February 17. And then on the 18 and 19, Saturday, Sunday, I don't know if the times are correct on here. If I told Chris, let me look, the times that I wanted to do it, if I changed those. Yep, I did. Good. Awesome. It's going to be 10:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Eastern time. So 7:30 a.m. Pacific time. So I tried to not make it too early for Eastern. I mean, for Pacific, but not too late for Eastern too, because it's all day Saturday, all day Sunday for 6 hours, 10:30 to 4:30 Eastern time, 7:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. Pacific time. So that's February 17 from 3 to 9 p.m. and then 10:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. the 18 and 19. So you guys can go register for that. And yeah, that is life-changing. But again, guys, if you didn't hear me, I'm so excited. The free webinar that I'm offering on February 16, you can register for that on my website. And it's limited seating because I use WebEx or Zoom. It has limited seating. But starting a spiritual healing business. It's a free webinar I'm offering. So if you guys go register for that, it's free. It's probably going to be about an hour and 15 minutes, something like that. I mean, I know I can get really chatty and give more, but if you've ever thought of, or maybe think in the future, you want to have any kind of healing business, it doesn't have to be like higher self hypnosis. Even if you're thinking like, wow, that'd be really cool to learn theta healing and start a theta healing business. But just know that if you start a theta healing business, you have to practice a lot to get really good at it. Like you have to practice continuously, like a lot. It's not something that you're just like a genius at right away. It takes practice. It takes work. It takes continuous practice. So forgiveness works. Actually, we do a ton of forgiveness exercises in theta healing. But for forgiveness to work really well, obviously we all know that forgiveness is for us. It's not for the other person. But you want to make sure that you get to a point where you can develop compassion and understanding for the other person. That's really what I have found makes forgiveness really click. That for me anyway, and for a lot of people, that I do higher self hypnosis sessions for, that's what really helps them click. So like in my higher self hypnosis sessions, I ask the person's higher self to show them the reason why their parent or spouse or whoever acts or acted the way they did, to give them an understanding, like a behind the scenes peek at why they did what they did, why they acted the way they did, why they said what they did. Hi, Chantel. How are you? I don't know if you saw, but I was talking a little bit about some stuff from your session. But anyway, so it gives you a behind the scenes peek at some of the reasons why this other person did this or that. And a lot of times, guys, especially if it's parents, it's kind of the standard, well, that's how they were raised. They didn't know any better. But then I also ask, like, I'm gonna tell you guys a question. I'm gonna read it from my session today because I love the way that my higher self helped me word this question. Because when I do these sessions, I'm totally channeling my higher self too. Like, I don't even know how I come up with some of these good questions. But this one, I'm going to look, hold on, let me find it because I really want to share this with you guys. I'm going to look up the word tangle. Okay. So this person that I did a session for today, her dad was super abusive too, like constantly beating her younger brother and her sister that was right above her. And she doesn't ever remember getting beaten. She doesn't know if she just doesn't remember, but she remembers being extremely verbally abused and scared to death of her dad. So she's a big people pleaser today, and she may be on here. So hello, I told her I was going to be live tonight. So a big people pleaser has a hard time saying no, wants to just be in service to everyone. But so I asked, here's some of the questions I asked. I said, does she not see her father's love for her because he didn't meet her expectation of what she thought a father should be and how a father should love her? So the biggest reason we have unforgiveness for people is because we have expectations of them. They should meet our level of whatever we set as an expectation for them. They should love us like this. They should treat us like this. And if they don't, I have no space for them. I'm not going to forgive them. So, but that's being stubborn. And so many times people's higher selves are like, yep, she's stubborn. She's stubborn. We're just going to have to keep working on her. And they'll bring all kinds of situations in your life to beat out the stubbornness in you, because we don't want to have stubborn souls. And our spirit team is not okay with us being a stubborn soul. But actually, it's a lot of people who are stubborn souls they come across all the time. So not to say that I've never been, guys, because I've been pretty stubborn. But anyway, so and her higher self said, yes, she did not see her father's love for her because he didn't show it to her in the way she expected him to. Like she thought he should. And the way he parented her was literally just because that's all he knew. And we have to come to the place where it's like we need to understand and accept that they're just not capable. It's like some people are just not capable of changing. It's like, well, gosh, I mean, my dad treated me bad or my mom treated me bad. And it only takes half a brain cell to change the way you parent your own children. Like, why couldn't my dad make that shift? Why does it have to all fall on me to break the generational cycle? Why couldn't my dad be the one to be like, hello, I was beaten as a child. Let me not beat my children. But I don't know why, but that was such a pattern. I mean, you look back in your generations and it was just like rampant. I mean, from generation to generation, this one beat this one. So then they beat their kids and then they beat their kids. But I don't know, for whatever reason, so many of us came here to be generation breakers, like generational cycle breakers. I mean, I certainly did. And I did not have a functional family. I did not have a good family. Didn't come from an intact family. Didn't have a lot of good things. Had some good things, but not a lot of good things growing up. And I broke that cycle and I created the close-knit, loving family that I always wanted and wished that I had. So that's pretty amazing. My spirit team was telling me today to pat myself on the back for that. They're like, you're freaking rock star. You did that. Like, look what happened to you in your life and look what you've created. Like, that's pretty freaking amazing. So yay. Anyway, so then I said, her higher self said he did not know how to be a father. He lost his father at a young age, so he did not know what to do. He was busy working hard and did not know how to show love to his children. He worried about success, and his children helped him be successful because he had a little business, and he made his children from young ages work in the business like all the time. And the wife was constantly working in the business. And I said, why was he such an angry, explosive, and abusive man? And her higher self said, because he lost his father so early and he wanted to control others. He just felt completely out of control, like his life was out of control, and that just tipped him over the edge. And he never healed from his anger. He never healed from it. And so I said, this is the question I really like. Can you untangle and remove the web of false truths and emotions that are from her higher self and from her father, from her lower self and from her father's lower self? The actions and words resulting from her father living as his lower self. All the words and thoughts from both of their higher selves. Can you untangle all of that? Send all of that up to Creator's light. Thank you, Glory, for the rose. Send that up to Creator's light and replace it with Creator's definition and perspective of truth in regards to her father and any love her father did or did not truly have for her. And have all of this be filtered through Creator's highest truth, and tell us what that looks like as it happens. And her higher self said, I'm taking all of the tangles and everything that is attached between these two. I'm scraping it off, and there's a lot of it everywhere. It's just many, many, many. And I'm sending them to Creator's light. And then I bring it back to the understanding, and I enter it into her body so that understanding is there. And she did a lot of deep breaths as she was receiving that. Her body really felt it, like she was feeling it, mind, body, and soul. But all that untangling of, just acting out of your lower ego self, not from a conscious, higher consciousness, acting just, both of them, her holding resentment and anger and reacting that way, and him acting the way he did and being abusive. And thank you, Husky Kimberly, for the roses. And just untangle all of that. And let's just throw that all up to Creator's light and just put Creator's truth and Creator's light and Creator's love on all of that. So that's what we did for that one. So I want to do a healing hypnosis. You can check out my website, wokelightworker.com, to learn more about my sessions and schedule a consultation call. It's so amazing and so healing. Chantel said, yes, right? Do it. Yes. Yes, don't you, Chantel? Yes. Lots of healing for her. She said, it changed me. Gradually, it's gotten even better. Every day is better. It really works. It totally works, guys. Oh my gosh, this is so powerful. I mean, it's just amazing to sit in this chair, and all the healing that I get to see is like mind-blowing. You guys can see a lot of it. Not all my sessions. I don't put them all out there. Not everyone gives me permission to post them all. But I have a lot of sessions on my YouTube channel. You can watch full sessions on my YouTube channel, but I have even more on my Patreon channel. So if you guys go to patreon.com, and my name out there is Woke Lightworker. It's Woke Lightworker everywhere. It's Facebook, Woke Lightworker. Instagram is Woke Lightworker. My website, Woke Lightworker. And again, if you guys didn't hear, if you're just joining, I have the free webinar on February 16. Its registration is open on wokelightworker.com on starting a spiritual healing business. So go ahead and register for that. It's free. It's going to be about an hour, 15 minutes on February 16, if you guys want to be there for that. Let me see. Chantel said, if you're all on the fence about getting a healing hypnosis session, I'm here to tell you to do it, right? Oh my God, yes. We are all here to heal the planet. Hi, Taylor. I see you. First by healing ourselves. Absolutely. Spot on, Taylor. That is how we heal the planet. because when we raise our vibration, when we heal ourselves, when we pull these dark, trapped emotions, we're raising for forgiveness. I already did that one. Uh, what if you can't reach a higher self? You can reach a higher self. Halloween nurse, reach your higher self. You are your higher self. There's no such thing as not reaching your higher self. You are your higher self. It's your higher consciousness. It's just a matter of, are you more connected to your lower self or your ego self? Or, and I do in my sessions, root, because otherwise those weeds just keep growing back and are gargle you to the next one or the next one, because you're not going to get out of it. Like, you're not going to get out of it. It's going to follow you until you decide to actually like pull a bunch of stuff. I did a session for someone, this was a while ago, but I asked about, if she was holding stuff on a genetic level, or if a DNA ancestral level, or if she had stuff from past lives, and her higher self said no. She actually like did massive healing in the life before this one, like active healing, and handled all of that. So the only thing she had to work on in this lifetime was stuff that happened in this life. Like, that was so clicked on um animal